Well, let's get right into it. Peter McGuire joining us from XM. Good afternoon, Peter. Well, yes, we've walked into a bit of a maelstrom when it comes to the Fed. There's a debate about, we heard it all before, to this is something new. What's your take?
Well, good afternoon, Annette. Happy New Year. Yeah, 80% are saying that that's going to be blast off in March. So that gives us a little bit of an idea. We're 2 months or 2.5 months out till we see a big chance of a 25 basis point hike. I wasn't surprised to see that big sell-off. We had a nice move to the upside on Monday, and then Tuesday was not too bad either, and then it really sold off heavily last night. So what we're seeing in Australia really demonstrates we're all interconnectedness.
It sure does. And then, of course, it was also compounded by that ADP Private Payrolls report. A nice spicy 800,000 double market expectations. That labour market is sure on fire.
Well, it is very much so. And there's no doubt it did surprise, and that was a good sign, Annette. So that's positiveness. The other side of it, of course, is we were in Christmas time. We were in, the demand side, one would have thought, as far as more jobs, and so it's an overall a very good number. We've got the non-farm payroll tomorrow evening, and it's a bit hard to really forecast what we're expecting there, but many analysts are saying that 400,000 number. So let's just see what impact that has to the market. And there's a bit of data being released over the next 24 to 48 hours, so it'll be quite exciting.
It always is. And the other thing that's also caught our eye today and yesterday is oil just keeps rising and rising, even though OPEC just committed to existing policy. Is there some technical issues behind this pickup?
Well, they kept their hand on hard, and 400,000, which they'd told everyone that it'd be pretty much about that number. So they're living true to their number. That's by February, that increase. 400,000 barrels a day. Now, the other side of net, which is that it's been a very strong move over the last couple of days as far as crude. We've seen big whipsawing, and we've seen a bit of a correction. Sold off around about 1.5%, I think, over the last 7 or 8 hours. But that just demonstrates the volatility. But we've got Brent now sitting just on $80 a barrel. You've got WTI and that sitting at 77. So that overall push to the upside is the storyline, and maybe we're going to see a little bit further uptick over the next couple of weeks leading into, say, the start of Feb, maybe an 83, 84 handle for Brent.
83, 84, momentum is your friend. Sticking with the energy space, you put out an interesting piece about natural gas. Prices, as we know, are through the roof. Is this a technical issue, supply, or a very cold Northern Hemisphere winter?
Well, it's a cold Northern Hemisphere winter, Annette, so it's 30% increase as far as pricing when you're looking at the Eurozone. If you're looking at NYMEX nat gas, it's been very, very solidly sold off. So that nat gas 30% increase, so it's been a price surge or a jump for those European buyers, and they've had traditionally December is a cold month, and that's taken for granted, but the demand picture has been very, very strong. So that could be further uptick as far as pricing over that February period, leading over the next, say, 60 days, further increase as far as nat gas prices for Eurozone.
Now let's stick with energy. And of course, my old shop, I used to work for a Canadian bank. And you also put in your piece that we're all looking at everybody's payrolls reports. Canada, they've had a couple of scorches recently. Does that give the Bank of Canada more ammunition to kick off sooner rather than later?
Well, yeah, certainly it's been very, very hot numbers, and they should be, congratulating themselves on that. The second part of it is, will we see a rate rise? I'm not expecting them to move before the Fed, and maybe you might see something April, May. We've just got to see, I think, the first part is what impact does it have as far as the Fed? The second one is from a trade perspective, supply chains and how the Canadian economy is going to roll forward from here. And then the next part is we might see a rate increase, maybe at the end of the first quarter towards that sort of period, Annette.
I think this is making March a pretty spicy month to look forward to. I'll just have to throw in as well, in amongst all the cases and yes, no, unreliable boyfriend, Andrew Bailey, the Bank of England snuck in that rate hike at the end of last year. Are they going to sit tight now?
Well, I think they probably will for the short term. It wouldn't surprise me, and they'll probably wait to see what impact they have as far as the Fed and how they blast off. And then we roll into 22 with the big powerhouse economies ratcheting up. I'm not expecting anything dramatic coming out of the ECB, but certainly you might see another rate rise for the pound or the Bank of England come, the May, June. So that's where everyone's got their mind at the moment. And it's just a wait and see approach, what impact it has as far as trade, economic growth, inflation numbers, and naturally job numbers.